President-elect Joe Biden is planning to reverse Donald Trump's efforts to help build the controversial Keystone XL pipeline. This is actually part of several environmental actions Biden plans on taking to combat climate change, which of course is incredibly important. Let me also note that Deb Haaland, serving as his incoming Secretary for the Interior, could have had some influence on Biden in regard to indigenous communities and the need to do something about climate change, to do something bold about climate change. But this is really an issue that many people across the ideological spectrum really agreed on. You have ranchers and farmers, joining this coalition that also includes the indigenous community in order to oppose and fight back against the Keystone XL pipeline. And now it appears that they have won. So the pipeline, promoted by the oil and gas industry since it was first proposed about 15 years ago, has drawn opposition because it would carry tar sands from the boreal forests in northern Alberta, Canada, of course, to refineries in the United States Gulf Coast. The energy used in extracting the molasses-like petroleum supplies would contribute heavily to climate change. So there were legitimate concerns about leaks, about contamination in drinking water. All legitimate concerns, especially when you look at how the fossil fuel industry, due to a lack of oversight, has contributed to tainting drinking water in various communities. Like this is a very real problem that people across the board understood the gravity of, and as a result, I think the messaging was effective and aggressive enough to convince Joe Biden that he needed to immediately undo some of the damage coming from the Trump administration on this. But Ryan, I wanted to bring you in and talk about some of the messaging we're getting from Biden in regard to the environment. He's not on board with the Green New Deal, but he is pushing forward with a more robust environmental agenda than I had expected.
Right, and Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff in Georgia, wouldn't say that they supported the Green New Deal either. But if you ticked through every single plank of the Green New Deal, they would say yes, 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 yes. I'm for all of that. And Biden has pretty much done the same. He has said he doesn't support the Green New Deal, but he does think that this country needs a new deal, and it ought to be green. But there's something about the messaging, and progressives actually should do some reflecting on that. Why is it that these pragmatic politicians who only care about winning and messaging, who will say absolutely whatever they think is the best thing to say to voters to win, why are they so afraid to say those couple of words? Yet they're okay pissing off the oil industry and the other industries that are going to be that will be so angry about supporting all of the different planks of that platform. There's a disconnect there that people need to sort through. But this is
No, that's such. It is an interesting aspect of this because, the way I read it is, you have moderate Democrats who just kind of want to distance themselves from, the left part of Congress, the AOCs, the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, and so. What do you make of that? Do you think it has something to do with the way progressive lawmakers have messaged these issues? Do you think it has more to do with the fact that progressive lawmakers are like they're hounded nonstop by right-wing pundits? So what do you make of it?
I think it's actually the latter, the last thing you said, that there is a multi-billion-dollar 24/7 propaganda operation that we can't really fully appreciate because we're not kind of bathed in it, because we see Fox News and we see all Newsmax and everything to its right as it kind of flows into our Twitter feed, but we're not kind of watching this stuff all of the time. And if you're a politician who runs statewide or nationally, then you have to understand what everybody's media diet is like. And so then you do end up having a sense that there's a huge portion of the country that is being told that these are un-American, insurgents. They're terrorists. They're trying to undo, everything that you love about this country. And the Green New Deal is going to, ban cows, going to ban hamburgers, going to ban airplanes, and that, we see that on Twitter. We laugh at it, but there are millions of Americans who are fed this as part of their daily media diet. And so I think part of what you're seeing is success on the part of groups like the Sunrise Movement in pushing forward this climate agenda, and success on the part of the water keepers and others who have blocked the Keystone pipeline. And so politicians want to be on the side of that energy, yet they want to not be in the crosshairs of this multi-billion-dollar propaganda operation. So they start avoiding words like Green New Deal, and they even, like Ossoff and Warnock, wouldn't say they were for Medicare for all, but they would say that they're for health care for everybody. Everybody should have, and they would say that you should have there should be a public plan that should be available to everybody. They would inch right up to it, but there's something about the words, and I think it's what you said, that it's related to this propaganda campaign and the money behind it.
And it puts Democrats, particularly progressive Democrats, in a little bit of a pickle, because, the online pressure to use certain rhetoric isn't going to go away, and the purity tests that have been incredibly toxic lately, I don't think are going to subside in any way. I think they're going to continue. And so if you have like Democratic lawmakers who are pretty supportive of robust policies that help provide solutions to climate change, that help provide affordability and availability to people who don't have healthcare, any progress they might be pushing for is going to be considered inadequate, selling out, not doing enough. These people are, frauds, whatever it is. And so it's difficult to kind of toe that line where you're trying to avoid the, anti-leftist propaganda out there, while simultaneously trying to appeal to a base of voters who want to see pretty strong rhetoric and robust policies, solutions that come from a more leftist ideology.
Yeah, it's an interesting and a tricky situation that we wound up in, because the impulse for these litmus tests comes from a very good place, because you have so many Democrats, establishment Democrats, who will claim to be progressive, but then when they actually have a chance to, when you put something on the floor, they don't end up voting for it, and they'll give you all sorts of excuses around this. So the solution was, okay, well, we're going to come up with these, you have to support a Green New Deal, you have to support Medicare for all, but as you started to get people into Congress that were able to elevate those issues into the national conversation, then you had the right wing say, this is something we can smear and distort. So then you get this feedback of centrist establishment Democrats saying, well, we actually support the elements of this, but we don't support the thing itself. And so what you have to do at this point is just judge people based on what they actually do. Nothing performative, doesn't matter in a lot of ways what they say, it's what they actually do. So if Joe Biden shuts down the Keystone XL pipeline, then you judge him on that, because that's what actually matters. What words he uses when he shuts it down, or if he doesn't shut it down, don't matter whatsoever. What does he do when it comes to direct aid to people? What does it do when it comes to expanding healthcare? He obviously he said he's against Medicare for all, but is he going to lower the Medicare age? Is he going to raise the eligibility up to say 25? Is he going to allow everybody who's unemployed to get into Medicare? If he does those things, then you judge him on that. And so because there's propaganda flying in so many different directions, you really have to pay much closer attention than you used to. And so labels don't quite cut it anymore.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.